Hello students. Now this is what the function's third part. We have already seen that how we can define a function user defined function. Its need that we can define with our own functionality, and then how we can call this function in a program. And then we have seen two types of functions: a function which is parameterized function and second is non-parameterized functions. Function which is having some parameter is known as parameterized function. Function which is not having any parameter is a non-parameterized function. Now next we'll see that two types of functions according to the return statement. See, functions, they may or may not return a value. Returning value means something they are returning and we are catching into some variable. So this way there are two types of functions. Number one, function not returning any value. These are known as void functions. Means function is not returning any value to you. It is displaying all the values inside the function only. Means normally we write print statement inside a function, means that function is not returning any value. And second type is function returns a value. So a function can return a value also, and then that value can be used for further operations. So first we will see the function not returning any value, a void function. If we see the definition, the function that performs some operations but does not return any value, called void function. This is a simple function. We've already seen one example of this function, that def display non-parameterized function. It is print hello, how are you, and then we are calling this function with this last line display. So this way this function is called, but it is not returning any value. A print statement is used inside the function. So this function generally is known as what? That function is not returning any value. It is performing itself there and there. It is not returning any value to you. Second type of function is what? The function a returning value. This is known as non-void functions. These functions are important functions because whatever value they return, that can be used for further operations, further calculations, further use you can do with the help of those values. So the function that performs some operations and return some one or many values, called non-void function. These functions are known as non-void functions and they return some values. How they return? Return statement is used to return value from a function, and its jump statement which transfer the control. Wherever you are calling a function, the control will transfer to that particular function and then return. So in this way it returns a value. Its syntax is what? The def function name, parameter or argument, same, and then we write some statements, and then we write another statement, that is return. In this return statement we write some expression or value, whatever you want to return. So two types of function: a function which is not returning a value, a function which returns a value. How it returns a value? It returns a value with the help of return statement. So one more new statement we need to use. Let's take an example, that function returning one value, def my function and then x. This is a function, its name is my underscore function, and then one parameter is there, that is x, and it is returning 5 times of that x value, multiply with 5, and then it is returning that value. This function only one statement, that is a return statement, and 5 into x, because it is returning this value. It will multiply the value of 5, means x into 5, and then it returns that value. Here we are not using print statement because we do not want to print this value here. We want to return this value to whom? Who has called this function, and that then this value, this multiplication of x can be used for further operation. वहाँ पर ये किसी भी दूसरे ऑपरेशन में हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं इस x का 5 टाइम्स को. So this way, now let's see this function, that how we can use this function here. So let's see, I'm writing one function, simple function, say def and then add, two numbers as I'm adding, as you know this program, then here AB, so C is equals to A plus B, two numbers are added. Now I'm using return statement, return C. Earlier what we did, we have not used this return statement. What we did, we wrote what, print statement. Let's see, print C. So as we write print C, and then we'll call this function add with two values, say 20 and 10. So what will be the output of this program? Output of this program, it will print C 20, A will be 20, B will be 10, and the result will be 30. So this will be 30, so it will display 30. So this result, only 30 it will display, nothing else. If you get this result back, means if you're writing function, say in the same way, here I'm writing again this function, say def add, and again the same values A and B, and now I'm using here return statement, return A plus B. Or what you can do, you can write C is equals to A plus B and then return C. Here I am writing return A plus B. Okay. Or what you can do on the similar way as we did earlier, or here in this program, C is equals to, this is not A, this is C actually. So C is equals to A plus B, and then return with proper indentation, return C. Now when you call this function add, जब आप इस फंक्शन को कॉल कर रहे हैं add with both values 20 and 10, now this time you cannot call it like this, इस तरह से कॉल नहीं कर सकते, because now this function is returning some value, and any function which returns some value, as this function is returning some value, ये जो function है कुछ value आपको return करेगा, and when someone gives some value, return some value, we need to catch it, we need to catch it into some variable according to the value. जिस तरह की वैल्यू है उसके अकॉर्डिंग हम वेरिएबल हम यूज़ करते हैं और उसको कैच करते हैं. सो हियर वी आर यूजिंग वन वेरिएबल से z इज इक्वल्स टू add 2010. हियर वी आर नॉट यूजिंग एनीथिंग, यहाँ पर हमने नहीं किया, बिकॉज ये फंक्शन कुछ भी रिटर्न नहीं कर रहा है, सिंपली प्रिंट कर रहा है. यहाँ ये वैल्यू रिटर्न करेगा, दैट इज़ व्हाट 20 और 10, ये 20 हुआ, ये 10 हुआ, दिस विल बी 30, सो इट इज़ रिटर्निंग 30. सो 30 जो रिटर्न करेगा, इट इज़ नॉट प्रिंटिंग एनीथिंग, रिटर्निंग 30 द रिजल्ट. तो जो रिजल्ट होगा वो z में स्टोर होगा. नाउ यू कैन यूज प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट हियर, प्रिंट z, आउटपुट विल बी 30 सेम, बट इट इज़ रिटर्निंग दिस वैल्यू, दैट इज़ व्हाट z. जो z आपको रिटर्न किया है, अब इस z को आप किसी दूसरे नंबर से मल्टीप्लाई कर सकते हैं, इसको डिवाइड कर सकते हैं, इसको ऐड कर सकते हैं, इसको सब्सट्रैक्ट कर सकते हैं, इसका पावर फाइंड कर सकते हैं, या इसको फर्दर किसी दूसरी कैलकुलेशन में यूज़ कर सकते हैं. दिस इज़ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग व्हेन अ फंक्शन इज़ रिटर्निंग एनी वैल्यू, कि हम उस चीज़ को कहीं भी यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं, कहीं भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं. दैट इज़ नोन एज व्हाट, दैट वे इज़ द फंक्शन इज़ रिटर्निंग अ वैल्यू. ओके, सो फंक्शन रिटर्न करता है वैल्यू, तो वो इम्पॉर्टेंट होता है क्योंकि उस वैल्यू को हम फर्दर यूटिलाइजेशन कर सकते हैं, मीन्स हम उसको किसी दूसरी कैलकुलेशन में यूज़ कर सकते हैं. जैसे कि लेट्स टेक अनदर एग्जांपल, another function is there, def, this function is what, sq function, sq function I'm using, and then one variable x only. Now here I'm returning value, its power means x into x, so it will return the power of any number. Now I'm using this function sq, p is equals to sq and then 5, so it returns 5 is square. That 5 is square, I'm using c is equals to p, means that 5 is square plus 5, or any number, or say 50, 5 is square plus 50. Now I'm printing this c. Okay, so this function def, this function will get one value, it will return that square of that value. Square of that value means its power, means double up this value. Now as we are calling this function p is equal to sq5, so this function will be called, this function will be called, the value of x will be 5, So now 5 into 5, 25. So it will return 25 to P. So P is equals to 25. Now C is equals to P plus 50 means 25 plus 50. Now here we are using that value. This 25, the P value we are using. If you use print statement here inside the function, here using print statement instead of return statement, you cannot use this value. ये वैल्यू आप यूज़ नहीं कर सकते. आपने प्रिंट x इंटू एस लिख दिया, वो पावर को डिस्प्ले कर दिया उसने सिर्फ, आप उस 25 को फर्दर यूज़ नहीं कर सकते. नाउ हियर यू कैन यूज़ दैट, आप उसको यूज़ कर रहे हैं. सो नाउ 25 50 दैट इज़ 75. So the result will be 75. So how we get this result? When this function is returning some value. जैसे कि हमें स्क्यूआरटी फंक्शन, पावर फंक्शन कुछ वैल्यू रिटर्न कर रहे हैं, तो हम उसको फर्दर यूज़ कर रहे हैं, किसी के साथ ऐड कर देते हैं, किसी को सब्सट्रैक्ट करते हैं, मल्टीप्लाई कर देते हैं, डिवाइड कर देते हैं, या अकॉर्डिंग टू द ऑपरेशन वी डू दैट, isn't it? So that's why this returning value is very important. We'll see that this function is returning multiple values. Here it is returning one value, this example 1. Example 2, you can see the function returning multiple values. The AF sum A, B, C. Return A plus B, B plus 4, C plus 4. So S is equal to sum 2, 3, 4. So S will store the return values as a tuple. So it is returning values, but it is storing in form of tuple only. And example 3, storing the return values separately. आप वो वैल्यू को सेपरेटली भी स्टोर कर सकते हैं. सो अ फंक्शन कैन रिटर्न सिंगल वैल्यू एज वेल एज मल्टीपल वैल्यूज़ ऑल्सो. बहुत सारी वैल्यूज़ भी रिटर्न कर सकता है, या फिर सेम वैल्यू भी रिटर्न कर सकता है. इज दैट क्लियर? When it is returning multiple values, say return A plus 5, B plus 4, C plus 7, and then S is equal to, in a single S you are storing all these results. 3 results it is returning, and you are storing in a single value. So वो क्या बनाएगा, इसके लिए एक टपल क्रिएट करेगा और स्टोर कर लेगा तीनों वैल्यू को. Else what you can do, if you want, you can store in example 3, you can store all these 3 return values A plus 5, B plus 4, C plus 7 in 3 different variables. आप 3 different variables में इसको यूज़ कर सकते हैं. Is that clear? Let's take an example. अगर हम यहाँ पर कोई एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं, तो आप कह सकते हैं कि एक फंक्शन है that DEF function, and it is adding 3 numbers, say A, B and C, 3 numbers हम ले रहे हैं, and then I'm using different variables. Say D is equals to A plus 10, E is equals to B plus 20, and F is equals to C plus 30. So we are adding 3 values and we are having these 3 variables. I am returning these variables now. ये तीनों रिजल्ट हमें रिटर्न करना है, तो हम क्या लिख सकते हैं, D, E, F. सेम थिंग वी कैन राइट. ये जो हमने लिखा हुआ है A plus 10, B plus 20, C plus 30, दैट ऑल्सो वी कैन राइट हियर. वो हम यहाँ डायरेक्ट लिख सकते हैं. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल हमने जैसे यहाँ पर रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट इस तरह से भी लिख सकते हैं, A plus 10, B plus 20, C plus 30. One line. Else you can use these 3 variables and then you can return these values. Now as you are calling this function add, so you need to provide 3 values, say 10 and then 5 and then 7. 3 values you are providing, but you are not catching anything here. So what you need to do, you need to catch these values. So either you can use a single variable here, एक ही वेरिएबल में आप इसको यूज़ कर लें. So you are using as for sum से, and then print S. So how it will return 10, 5 and 7. So A will be 10, this will be 5, this will be 7. These 3 values. So D, first return D क्या होगा, 10 plus 10 means 20. So it will return 20 and store as a tuple. 5 is B, 25, so it will return 25. 7 plus 30, 37, so it will return 37. अब क्या कर सकते हैं, दिस इज़ वॉट अ टपल. ये टपल के फॉर्म में स्टोर है. आप चाहे तो इसको सेपरेटली स्टोर कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल S1, S2, S3 is equals to ADD and then 10, 5, 7. So these values 20, 25 and 37 it will return, but this value will be stored where The first value 20 will be stored here, and s2 it will store 25, here 37. So all these values which is written by this function will be stored separately in separate variables, whereas here all these values written by this function will be stored in one variable, that is s only, जो कि सिर्फ एक ही वेरिएबल में स्टोर होगी, वो भी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ टपल. नाउ हियर इट विल रिटर्न and store s1 is equals to 20, s2 is equals to 25, and s3 is equals to 37. All three values will be stored separately. So this way a function can return single value, or function can return multiple values also. So we have seen this. Now next class we'll see some more functions. That will be a last class. We'll see the scope of variables and other things and some examples, and we'll give you one assignment, complete assignment based on this function chapter. Now very important thing, a few students are still not taking part in these classes, online classes. See, when this lockdown will completely call off, and that is a big question. Your online classes may continue up to 6 months or more than that. So be ready and be attentive, be careful while attending these classes. Means you need to attend the classes. That's why we are providing videos, so that whenever you get time you can see these videos and prepare yourself. So as soon as these stationery shops will open, purchase book, or online you purchase books, and then start yourself. Means you start study, and then whenever doubts are there you can ask me directly on my personal mobile number, or in the group also you can ask. After this chapter we will be having a doubt clearing session, so you inform other students also. Seriously you take part in all these classes and clear your doubts. Okay, so thank you very much.